Welcome to the HR Empowerment Podcast, where we will uncover strategies and new insights from HR professionals who discuss up-to-date regulations, best practices, and the most pressing topics like diversity and equity, leadership, dealing with difficult situations, and much more that affect your bottom line and business. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, everybody. Wendy Sellers here, the HR lady, here with my co-host, JC. Hey, JC.
Hi, Wendy.
How's it going?
It's pretty good. All this talk about caregivers this week is really kind of on the tip of my tongue, front of my brain. You know that you are a caregiver when you're in such a hurry that you put your coffee cup upside down in your Keurig. If you've been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
interesting.
Been quite the topic.
Yeah, I know you have things going on as well, so this is probably hitting home for you. I know it's probably coming my way sooner than later because fortunately my parents are very healthy right now and active, but I am the only one in the area. All the rest of my family lives in another state, so I got the benefit of having them later in life where they got them in the beginning, and now I'm like, okay, that's coming my way. So this topic is very, very timely for everybody. And before we jump in and ask our guests some questions, I wanted to share with our listeners that I kind of actually forgot about it. But my first ever professional job, which was an internship when I was in grad school, I went to college not for HR initially. I went to college for healthcare administration. And of course, I went all the way. So when I was in my master's, my internship was at an assisted living facility. And whoa, that totally opened my eyes. And the biggest thing I could say now, interestingly enough, now I have clients that are assisted living facilities, and I'm their HR consultant and management trainer. And I can tell you one thing, it is expensive to put your family member just in the assisted living facility, also known as adult daycare, but if you also have to do it long term or more intense, woo, it is very expensive. With that said, let me turn that over to our special guest today, Christy Yates, who is a licensed educational psychologist, author, podcaster, speaker, and is here to educate us and empower us and help us figure out what the heck are we going to do with all these caregiving responsibilities and stay employed. So with that said, welcome back, Christy.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, hey, jump right in. Give us some options, of what we can do as employers, whether we're HR, the business owner, the manager. How today can we help our employees who we may think, hey, something's going on over there. They're a little off their game. What benefits can we create or come up with without being discriminatory and with being helpful and not being pushy? What are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. I definitely feel like there's some room to really expand on that one. I am a big believer in the employee resource group kind of modality. And that's an opt-in, right? That's not, you make that available to anyone and they can say, yeah, I want to do that. And it's maybe 1 hour a month and they get some resources, or they get to talk to someone. Could be someone like me, could be a grief expert, could be somebody who's talking about dementia care, could be somebody who's talking about child care or teen issues or whatever it might be in their sandwich. And so those are some things that can be really easy to do, right? And they can be recorded and people can watch them offline. So it might not have to take away from the day, but there are those kinds of opportunities. It could be looking at how do you structure your time away. And, there is FMLA. I will tell you that is not often used. It's not as used as often as some people don't even know what they can use it for. And there's reluctance sometimes on the employer side with that. So there's some issues with that. And, but there may be some ways you can have, more, generous PTO, or you don't really call it sick time. It's not that you have to report why you're taking some time off. And so you just have some availability to people. It could be bringing in some coaching for folks, or making some therapists available to folks and again, it's opt-in. It's not, hey, you all have to take a survey and pass a test to be able to qualify for this service. So I think that's the big piece, is that there is a reluctance sometimes for caregivers to say, hey, manager, I'm a caregiver. I need time off because they're concerned about, how are people going to view me? The other thing is I loved what you said at the beginning, JC. You're a caregiver when, and you know what? You're a caregiver when, even if your folks live in an assisted living, if you're the one they call, guess what? You're the caregiver, and they call all the time. They're not worried about where you are. They're just calling your phone and they want to talk to you. So, how do you navigate that at work such that you're not being, maybe overmanaged or docked time for taking a phone call. So those are the things that I think are important to look at.
Yeah, get creative. Even for the companies that are listening today that you're like, well, we don't have FMLA because we're not that big.
Right.
Well, create a policy then, and then you can create it on your own and you just need to be consistent. You need to be fair and consistent so you don't get yourself in trouble. But, you can create something else, some kind of special sick policy for caregivers, PTO, non-FMLA, FMLA, of course. I do want to let everybody know, though, that on the FMLA Department of Labor website, under the FMLA, there is an actual fact sheet. It's called 28C is the number of the fact sheet for FMLA elder care. And so I'll be making sure that I share that on my social media and my website. Wendy Sellers, the HR lady, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn. But it's very important to realize that, hey, there is a fact sheet out there. And even if you don't already have to follow the FMLA, you could say we're going to follow it anyways. You just need to be consistent. So get an expert involved, 100%. Okay, so up next, what I want to continue this conversation on in episode 4 of 5 is more tools and resources, which I have found as well. And I'm very excited to share these as well. So we will be right back, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining the HR Empowerment Podcast, brought to you by Aurora Training Advantage. We hope you've gained new insight and strategies to navigate the HR profession. We look forward to you joining us again on the HR Empowerment Podcast.